told your friend you're not okay? And tell me what's wrong and why you never said you felt that way. And guess you're trying to stay strong and fake a smile until I look away. But I've known you too long, it hurts to watch your blue eyes fade to gray as you fade away. As you fade away.
Yeah, I'm about to fade away, cause every time I wake up I feel like it's Monday. Something's going wrong with all the chemicals up in my brain. All of a sudden I don't look at anything the same way. Gotta build up of my thoughts sitting in an ashtray. I'm sorry that I'm so inconvenient, okay? Just let me be me and I'll stay out of your way. I can see the way you look at me, I'm such a disgrace. I never really asked to be brought into this place. You wanna love me? Well then baby I have a taste. All the highs and the lows, no you'll never be the same. I don't really wanna hurt you but I can't control the pain. If you're sticking by my side maybe we could be okay. Okay, maybe you could be the change I need today. I promise that I've never felt this way. I really hope that you will choose to stay through all the pain.
I know you told your friend you're not okay. And tell me what's wrong and why you never said you felt that way. And guess you're trying to stay strong and fake a smile until I look away. But I've known you too long, it hurts to watch your blue eyes fade to gray as you fade away. As you fade away. As you fade away. Trying to stay strong and fake a smile until I look away. But I've known you too long, it hurts to watch your blue eyes fade to gray as you fade away.
All right, welcome everybody, and thank you for joining us. This is going to be the SDL Q&A, Smite Draft League question and answer. I spelled that out just to pad time. We're going to go for about an hour and try and address as many questions as we can. We're going to do the best that we can to be comprehensive. Obviously, we might not be able to get to everyone, but I just want to say I really appreciate everyone being here, showing interest in the league as a whole, and I hope that you guys appreciate us taking the time to try and answer the questions as articulately as we can, and also listen to the players, listen to the community in large. My name's Nathandepaulo. Thank you for joining us, and with me.
I'm Yung-Cub, and thanks guys for joining. Like you said, we want you guys as a community to feel heard and understood, and definitely feel like you have a say in things, because you definitely do, and you always have the power to change things. Just on that note, the league coordination team has been working really hard, and I hope you guys understand that, to just provide the most competitive and fair and balanced season yet. We want this to be just an enjoyable experience for everyone. So Nate, it looks like we already have some questions rolling in on the live Q&A, so I guess we can jump right into it.
Yeah, we already do. I'm going to say thanks, Swiftfish, for getting us started with just a nice block of questions. This is good to take a look at. Do you have any plans to stop or prevent potential smurfing or account sharing? I'm really glad we're starting with this one, because I just want to say, and I want to make it very widely known, so tell everyone that's on teams that you're with, tell everyone that you play with regularly that's going to be on this league. We're not going to tolerate multiple accounts like duplicate accounts or intentional smurfing. So there is plans to deal with that, and I think that we should just go ahead and open up with our plan with that. Okay, Cub?
Yeah, I think that's a good plan. And on that note, he said that no Smurfs are tolerated. If we know a Smurf is tied to a main account, both accounts will be permabanned and will be submitted to the Amateur Smite League. So you'll be comp banned as a whole if you're trying to get your Smurfs into this league to be a dishonest player. Yeah, carry on, Nathan.
Yeah, I think one of the things that I want to like focus on for just a second is what we're looking to do and what we don't want to tolerate. What we're looking to do is have competitive games. We're trying to have a welcoming community. We're trying to have a place where people who enjoy this game, like to play it, want to play it at a higher level than you can get from just queuing ranked, feel like it's a fun place to play. That's our goal. What we don't want to tolerate is people being toxic, people intentionally trying to take their high skill and play against low skill people just for the purpose of griefing them or having a hard time. Any toxic bad behavior, obviously. I think that that should go without saying, but I wanted to articulate that's the goal, that's the intention. So what we want is people to play on their main accounts that reflect their actual skill level, and for them to be in the correct division based off of that. And so if people, we know that there are people that have currently signed up multiple accounts. Maybe they thought that's fine, maybe they thought it would good fun, maybe they thought they wouldn't get caught. We're going to offer an amnesty week to get that out of here. So play on your main account only, get rid of any duplicate accounts. If you've got a Smurf account, unregister it, get it out of the server. I think we're going to offer until Friday of this week. I should have brought up a calendar. Right. Today is the 7th, so Friday would be I've got nothing.
23rd.
23rd.
It'll be the 23rd.
Yeah, 9/23.
Yeah, and also similar to what Nate was saying, this isn't just for Smurfs trying to get in lower division. This is for Smurfs trying to get on multiple teams, just of any type. We're just not going to allow it. And like you said, this amnesty week will be all you need to do is send a message from your Smurf account or just leave the server. Either way, we won't hold that against you or anything like that. But if you send a message, we can effectively take you off the rosters for scouting grounds and to be off of the free agent pool, and no bans will be issued. You'll just get to play on your main account. But like you said, if we catch you, and we will be looking. We will be taking measures against that. It will be a permaban on all accounts associated as far as Smurfing goes.
Yeah, I'm just going to reiterate that. You've got until Friday to get rid of duplicate and Smurf accounts. Starting Saturday, we will be looking very closely to ferret out any additional remaining players, and anyone that we find will get the harshest penalty that we can enforce. Removed from the league, reported to Amateur Smite League, banned from competitive. We're taking this very seriously. We want players to have a good time, and we want their games to reflect the skill level that they are supposed to be in. I feel like that answers that question. Should we move on?
Well, there's a second part of that question, and it says account sharing. So you have to be the main account holder. We want to follow high-res rules. Backup accounts, if you've been banned and you've been backed up, that's just not allowed, and we're not allowing it either. In order to get the gem reward at the end of the season, we have to just follow high-res rules. So you have to be the one on the main account. It has to be your main account, and if you've ever been banned at some point, unfortunately, we can't allow you to play.
So one human, one account. Please keep that in mind. Okay, so will regular seeding be affecting playoffs this time around?
So I'm a bit confused by this question. I think in the past, regular season has affected playoff seeding. The better you do in the regular season, the better your seeding is going into playoffs. Swift, if you could elaborate on that question, maybe I can answer a little bit better. We were looking into narrowing it down to just being 6 teams in the playoffs. Just to really make regular season, more stakes, higher stakes on the line. But I think right now we've chosen against that. But of course, as we said, if the community has a voice on that, if we only want to let the 6 teams through, we can make small rule changes. I don't want to be super flexible. Like as we've said, we've thought out a lot of these decision making. We've talked it through. We've taken these things to the logical extremes. Right now, all teams will make it through. But yeah, seeding, at the end of the season, first place team is going to play the eighth place team. So there is still a benefit to being the best performing team.
Yeah, and we'll be using win-loss, not a point system, to reflect what the team's standings are. So it will affect their placement as far as in the brackets. And then, currently the plan is, like Cub said, to have all teams be available. We are talking about increasing the team size, so that may actually affect the bracket, the number of teams.
Correct, and we'll get into that a little bit more. Potentially increasing team sizes just because of the amount of science we had. Swift also followed up on that, saying, "Will there be buy-ins / a buyed game for the higher seeding teams?" And that's 100% depending on the amount of teams in the league. Right now, with a 8-man bracket, there will be buy-ins for the top 2 teams. So let's carry on, Nate.
Okay, so are you allowed to swap roles mid-set? This is a great question. We're going with 6-man teams at the moment. I'm just going to sidebar and say we've had a lot more signups than we anticipated, which is a fantastic thing. It just makes it a little more complicated for scheduling and planning. But right now we're looking at 6-man teams, and with 6-man teams, obviously you can swap people in and out. And so the intention is you can swap your 6th member in from game 1 to game 2 of a set, and they can go to different roles, that sort of thing. So yes, you can swap roles mid-set. You can also swap players if they are on your team.
Right. Yeah. It's I know some people are against this, but yeah, like Nate said, just for the purpose of the sub, it would be kind of a shame if your jungler left and your sub couldn't jungle. We want you to have the most competitive experience possible. So in order to do that, we believe that role swaps should be allowed. And so go ahead.
I just want to talk to intention a little bit here. Part of the purpose of having a 6-man team, it's just to include more people on teams. Obviously, we've got a lot of people that are signing up, want to be drafted, want to be on teams. Is to give the captain the option to be able to, be in the Discord while the games are being played, but also have his 5 players playing the game. That's something that can happen. But I think just as importantly, we've had a lot of games in previous leagues where they didn't start on time because there wasn't somebody available, because of a last-minute cancellation, etc. Having a 6th man will probably reduce that at least some, maybe a lot. And so we expect games to start on time more often. We expect just general competitiveness to be better, and for the overall organization to be better. So I'm hoping this solves a lot of problems that we had from previous leagues.
Right. And so moving on to the next question there, will there be stats / fantasy teams this season? I know this is something that a lot of people want. Right now, we're a little bit short-staffed and just trying to make sure the regular season goes as smoothly as possible, thinking out all the scenarios as far as that concerns. If we add to our staff or, can maybe get some helpful volunteers for that sort of thing, we may look into it. But at this time, I think that's not an option. Nate, you want to follow up on this?
I think just what you said. Currently, we don't have the mechanics to do that, but it's absolutely something we'd like to do. And so once Scouting Grounds is over, if we can get the personnel that would be able to handle it, because stats is a very labor-intensive role, then it's absolutely something that we would go forward with. And once we have the stats, there's no reason not to do fantasy teams. So if there's a lot of interest, let us know. We appreciate the feedback, and we're going to make an effort to get that to happen.
Absolutely. And on that note, I don't know. This is everyone's a rookie in this division, in this league. So, if throughout season 1, we're going to start developing favorite players, those hot shots you love to see. And it makes just drafting a fantasy team that much easier come season 2 or something like that. Down the line, we definitely will have that. We want to have that. But, you got to build up the repertoire, the repertoire, I guess, of, who's the hot shot players? Who would I want to fill a fantasy team potentially?
Yeah, so we definitely want to have that aspect of it. So the next question is, will there be any reprimands for intentionally throwing scouting games? I think that knowing that somebody intentionally threw it versus had a bad game is a little hard to parse, and what sort of reprimand would be appropriate for that sort of thing is difficult. If we feel that So I think that this speaks to the overall intention of having people have, like sportsmanlike integrity going into these games. If we feel that somebody is intentionally not being sportsmanlike, that can result in a strike. And a couple of strikes quickly results in a ban from the Discord. So I'm going to say that maybe specifically this will be difficult to find, but if we discover that there is unsportsmanlike behavior, just generally speaking, that is something that's reprimanded.
Right. Yeah, we're 100% against cheating or trying to get on a specific team. This is a draft league. We want it to be as fair and balanced as possible. Of course, it's nearly impossible to eliminate people picking up their best friend, things like that. But if they're obviously underperforming in scouting grounds games, it definitely can lead to punishment.
Yeah, and I think I just want to just double down on that is, yeah, we're not trying to make this a friends league. We're trying to make it a draft league. We hope people are playing the best that they can, getting on the best teams that they can, really trying to take the spirit of this type of game. Obviously, you want to play with your friends. It's understandable. No one's saying that, you can't be on a team with a friend. I just hope you make new friends with your new team as well.
Exactly. So moving on to the next question here, will any scouting games besides the initially scheduled games be streamed? I don't think so. I think that the caster, the production crew is doing a great job of they're gonna keep track of all the games that are being played. For right now, just the scouting reports being like generated for each game that is scheduled will be streamed. But beyond that, I don't think they're going to stream any of that because this could end up in an infinite amount of games being streamed, which just with our one cameraman at the moment just might be a little bit too much for that crew.
Yeah, having said that, if you do play scouting games that aren't the specifically scheduled ones that we've laid out, please post the results in the results page so that captains can go through that. I think that this might be a good time for us to just talk briefly about the intention of doing scouting games the way that we did. I suspect that that's maybe an unasked question. Don't you think, Cub?
Definitely. Yeah, I would say so.
So just one of the issues that we ran into with previous leagues was that there's a handful of people that are just super eager and available to play, and then it's a little difficult to maybe get those other people to play. And so what we wanted to do is give a fair, equitable chance for all of the people who are wanting to sign up, wanting to be drafted, to get in a game and have that game count with, equal weight. And so this way one person doesn't get into 90 games that are cast and another person doesn't manage to get into any because that one game that they signed up for and waited for 30 minutes for, etc. So we're trying to do things fair and even for the players themselves. We're trying to do things in an organized way for casting so that, like every single person that plays a game does get a chance to at least have a record of their game, and the captains can go back and watch them. And also this just causes the captains to get invested early in the scheduling and the organization and the mini management of the players, etc. There's a lot of advantages to this method that we're using, and we're really hoping that people appreciate it. Obviously, this isn't saying you can't play other games, but we want you to play these games. There to be a VOD of them for them to be cast so that everyone that is currently signed up to be drafted has that opportunity.
Right. Yeah, and like you said, this allows visibility from all of the players that are signed up. They all get to play. This also puts the captain's knowledge and test to just right away. They're going to need to schedule games at some point during the regular season. If they can schedule games now in 2 weeks, it's proof that they were a good captain selection. And then also captains will not just skill level here, but they can also see player schedules doing this. And they can say, hey, this person can only play from midnight to 3 a.m. On weekends. Like, no thanks, I don't want that guy on my team because it'll be a scheduling nightmare. So we definitely thought this through. We used all of our brain power combined to come up with this method, and we really think that once things get once is used more, once people are scheduling games, I think it'll be really beneficial for captains and players alike.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I hope you'll give this new method a chance. I know it's different than what's been done in the past, but I really do think there's going to be some good qualities to it.
Right.
And if you don't like the team names, please let Yung-Cub know. He'd love to hear that. So
for sure.
Moving on.
Yeah, moving on. Nate, I'll let you take this one.
Yeah.
Swift is asking, Will there be any events for the free agents to participate in if they're not drafted?
Yeah, absolutely is the answer to this. And I think that this is something I want to talk about for just a moment and say that we've got more participation than we expected. That's a great thing. But because the league can only be so big, we can only have so many games cast simultaneously, we can only have so much going on. That means that there's going to be people who don't get on a team. So, we could infinitely expand the league, but since we're already into trying to get the season going, we've got the divisions planned, we've got the captains picked, and all of that, it becomes complicated to keep adding teams. There's going to be people on the free agent list. So the plan at this point is to try and make being a free agent not a bad thing. Obviously, you want to be on a team. I want you to be on a team. I want you to do well. I want you to win, get prize money. But we are going to have events for free agents. We're going to have like fun 1v1 tournaments that are only available to free agents. We're going to do fun game modes. We're going to do scrims, obviously. Ideally, we'll be playing games where free agents play against each other, but also free agents play against other teams in scrims. So what's going to be different in this league from previous leagues is there will be someone, myself, responsible for coordinating with the free agents, trying to schedule them, trying to keep them engaged, and try and get them rewards. Now, as far as what those rewards will be, we're working on that. Obviously, we want the lion's share of the prize pool to go to the teams in the playoffs, etc. But we want there to be a healthy, engaged free agent base so that as players drop from teams, for whatever reason, there are free agents of known skill level that can be drafted up. So we want there to be movement. We want there to be teams dropping people, picking up people as appropriate. We know that's going to happen. So we want a good pool of engaged players for them to pick from. And that means having things for the free agents to do. So there is a plan for that. It's something that I'm personally very excited and passionate about. If you've got ideas, send them to me directly. I'll love to hear it.
Definitely. Yeah, let's move on. We got a lot of questions to get through here, so I'm just going to kind of speed run this and go along. Can to skip some of these goofier questions. Let's go to Animosity here. He's asking a question about the scouting grounds. They can ping coordinators for subs. How many subs could we allot, or should we allot? His understanding is that these are mainly qualifiers to begin with and should get wrapped up ASAP so players can focus on other things. So to answer your question is, if one player is being extremely difficult and can't play his game, it's on him to be able to play his set, right? So definitely get a sub in those cases, but we're also testing captains and making sure they can schedule games. So try to be a little bit flexible and try to come up with a whole team schedule. It's considered a practice run for what regular season will be like. Yeah, so on the note of these being qual guys to begin with and should be wrapped up ASAP, I don't think that's necessarily true, Animosity. You have a 2-week period through next Friday, right? We're going until the 30th, so 2 weeks. You have 2 weeks to get these done, so it's not necessarily an ASAP thing. It's just like a just get your set done.
Yeah, you
and
can't
this moves
play
on
games on the 30th.
Exactly, and I'm just going to piggyback to Lone Wolf's question. She asked, "How long do we have to play the scouting games?" You have to play one set with your set team, and it has to be streamed. Because captains are spectating every game that they are coordinating, they will be streamed. So the quick answer to that is play one set with your team, and you'll be good and eligible to be drafted in season 1 here.
Yeah.
And I think that's that.
Best of 3 set. So, at least 2 games, 3 if it's, etc. And I think the only other thing that I wanted to add to the subs question is if you cannot get someone, reach out to Cub, myself, or Asian, and we will see if there's somebody who's recently signed up that needs to get thrown on a team anyway. So if you can't get somebody, if you're not making it work before you just get your best buddy or somebody who's already played a qualifier game, reach out to us. We would appreciate it.
Definitely. Yep. And let's move on here.
Is there going to be a mid-season shuffle this season? I'm going to say no, because we're basically encouraging trades at any time.
Actually, this is Asian's realm, and he has been considering there will be a bit of a mid-season shuffle. We've talked about it. It's in the rule set. It'll be a period, to shake things up. Like Nate said, we will be encouraging trades because they're 6-man teams. It's going to be periods that free agents might be able to get picked up. people, every draft league has it. People don't get along with their teammates. So this will be the period. It'll be, after week 6 that makeup games will be played, and new rosters can come about there. So I think that's the answer there.
Yeah, and after week 6, the week 7 is when games that didn't get played would be played, etc. And then after that becomes the playoffs. So it wouldn't necessarily be mid-season, I suppose. But by the end of week 7 is when teams need to be locked in for the playoffs.
Perfect. And on that note, that rolls right into Scooby Daddy's question here. How many weeks is within the season, and when does it start? So Scooby, we're shooting for that 6-week season, with that middle week 7, being that shuffle, or sorry, after week 3 that'll be that shuffle, and then after that it'll be playoffs. So all in all, about an 8-week season from the very first game to the end of playoffs. Moving on, Virtually asked, is the prize pool just for Premier, or is it split for both Premier and Challenger? You want to take this one, Nate?
Yeah, it is split. It will be both. I think the next question is, how is it split? 60-40, 70-30. I'm going to say something like that. The exact amount has not been established, but the exact amount of the prize pool hasn't been established. So it's going to be a significant reward for both the Premier and the Challenger team. I think that we are leaning to more heavily weighting the Premier team to encourage players that are capable of playing in that level to play in that level. I think that's the short answer.
Right. I think Asian and I discussed this also. We were actually ourselves leaning towards this 60-40 split. We really do want to make Premier feel like something special, and we want to discourage people from playing Smurfs if they're able to play at that Premier level. So like Nathan said, we're still ironing it out, but we're definitely leaning towards either a 60-40 or 70-30 split. But yeah, with over $1,000 in our prize pool now, I think we're almost at $1,100. It's no chump for either division, regardless of the split.
Yeah, no chump change at all. So next question, is the 6-man team a necessary component? I think this hasn't been asked before, so this is the first time Cub and I are talking about it. I'm going to say yes. We want all captains to draft 5 players so that you've got at least a 6-man team. If the captain's intention is to play and they just want that 6th man to be a fill, I still think that there's value to that. Cub, am I on the right track there?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, just 6-man teams, even 7-man teams, just makes everything nicer when scheduling games. Captains can take on a more coaching role if they want to do that. But really, we want games to be played on time and to a schedule. And so, with that being the case, we'll just have to you'll be able to move in your 6-man, move players around, see what jives best with your team, and go on from there.
Mm-hmm. So next question, will there be a mid-season signs draft for players that join late in the season? I'm new here, but how will the waterfall work? Okay, that's a separate question. So I'm going to start with the first one. Players that sign up once the season has begun will be able to move into the free agent pool with I'm going to say, a minimal qualifier. And at that point, then they become tradable. So there will be opportunities for captains to pick up new players once they've been assigned. And I guess kind of leading into the waterfall question, there is going to be the cap for Challenger Division, Diamond players and below. So if you are Masters or Grandmasters, then that will put you in the Premier free agent pool only. And so I just wanted to specify that there will be a distinction between those two. In regards to how the waterfall we're going to work, would you like to take that, Cub?
Yeah, definitely. So we are allowing a bit of a waterfall, but like you said, Challenger Division has a diamond cap on it. And so although, diamond players that might play at that level, they're going to fall through and they'll be able to be drafted. But unfortunately, in seasons past, we've seen it in various draft leagues. Masters players, they get to play in Challenger Division. Like a Masters player that could have, plays at a GM level or whatever, fighting against gold and plat players. It's just not a fun time for anyone. No one wants to be stomped. No one wants to just absolutely stomp. And so because of that, we have to implement this this diamond cap on Challenger Division. which I guess I'm just going to ask another question. Steve has asked this before. I've been getting a lot of questions about it. So I guess, Cub, that means that you're going to lose a lot of player base, a lot of Masters players that don't get drafted in Premier. They're not going to get to go through and play. You're not going to cater to your best players. And the answer is no, we're not. We want to have a fun and competitive season for both leagues, and a couple of Masters players carrying games in Challenger is not a fun and competitive setting for a Challenger. And also, we want to keep a healthy free agent pool for Premier to pull from. If we were to let Masters players go down and play in Challenger, and let's say a team started to implode in Premier, and let's say they lost 2 players, they have a 4-man roster at that point, who are they going to pull from if all the Masters are on a team in Challenger? They have no one. They'd have to pick a player, and then that gets stomped anyways. So it's kind of a necessary evil at this time. Now, down the line, when we're implementing 3 divisions and things like that, when we have the player base, which we're very close to achieving, so for season 2 and things like that, we can look at it. Then a true waterfall can be implemented when there's not going to be a Masters player playing against gold players, period. Mm-hmm. So I hope that answers that thoroughly.
That does. There was a little bit of cutting out, so I'm just going to summarize real quick, and that is there will be a Premier free agent pool. There will also be the Challenger free agent pool. We're going to keep them engaged. We're going to have people that they can, be drafted to a team as players drop. I know there's some repetition here, but that is the intention, and that's the focus here. So the last question is there a trade value? If both teams agree on trading for somebody that they want, like a top 10 pick for a top 50th pick, will that be allowed, or will mods deny it? So I think a scenario like this is unlikely, because if you've got a top 50th pick and you're trading for a top 10 pick, I guess the question is, why would the person give up the top 10 player? Having said that, if there seems to be intentional malfeasance, mods will look into that. So I think that's the intention of your question, is if people are trying to game the system or do something that's not in their best interest to try and stack some other team, that is something that will hit the mods radar and would could evoke action.
Exactly. And we've also implemented a rule, and the rule book is live on the rules tab of this Discord. We're implementing a rule that if you're traded or dropped, you can't be picked up again for another 7 days. This is to prevent people from, trading the best player back and forth, effectively trade winning, that sort of thing, or win trading. And so, we're doing all we can to prevent situations like that. And each trade will be investigated and make sure it's fair and both captains are on board and there's nothing awry afoot, I guess. No issues there.
Yeah, I guess that's something to say, is that the rules did heavily consider how to handle trades so that it would be fair and so it couldn't be abused or exploited. So this is something that's been considered, and will probably, we will be monitoring it closely whenever there's trades. For those that couldn't join the live Q&A, will you answer these questions in a text summary afterwards? I see no reason not to. I think that's a great idea. We are recording this. We are going to probably put it up on the YouTube when this is complete at some point, so that people can go back and listen. And since a lot of these questions kind of pertain to similar things, we'll try and do a concise Q&A to follow the rule book, just to make sure that things are clear for the people.
Correct. Yeah, and it'll be nice because we're going straight down the list, so you can, jump around questions a little bit easier when watching the video. So the C person here, he asked, will VODs be available for the games that are streamed in Scouting Grounds actual season? Yeah. The answer is absolutely. Scouting Grounds games are meant to be replayed. We're implementing this strategy. We answered this before. We're implementing this strategy of scouting games so captains can scout. We want the games to be replayable. That's why captains are spectating. And then our production team will replay that game. Might not be casted, might just be a video of it, but every game will be able to be reviewed. During the actual season, yes, we have a limited production team right now. We're struggling to find cameramen. So the priority will be Premier as far as casting the games, but we are going to try to get to every game we can as far as regular season games go.
Yeah, so I want to double down that he said absolutely. I know that his headset cut out just a couple of times at the specific affirmative statements, but absolutely was the answer. They will be available. They, I believe, will be available on the YouTube. I think the intention is to use the Twitch for streaming, the YouTube for VODs. And just to double down, we really would like to get more cameramen so that we can do more simultaneous games. So if you know people that would like to participate in a league but maybe aren't ready to be sweaty tryhards when it comes to 5v5s, have them sign up to be cameramen. That will be absolutely useful to us.
Absolutely, and also there are rewards for cameramen and for the best cameramen and the best casters of the season. So I think all caster spots are taken up right now, but we are still looking for some cameras just to really make sure this is exciting of the league as possible. Control Alt I Eat asked, to me the scouting games seem like a formality and would be hard to make sure everyone is trying their hardest, even if they weren't necessarily trolling. Could you make it clear within the Discord that not trying in scouting games could result in a strike ban? Yeah, we addressed this earlier. We will if people aren't playing to their level. Obviously, this is a hard thing to parse. It can be investigated. If people are obviously trying to get on one team by throwing games, we're just not going to allow that. We want a fair and balanced and competitive season, and so that's the way we're going to go about that.
Yeah, we are looking for competitive integrity. We will communicate that as such. I think that the next question, Ibba, what has been explained, we're recording this. You can go back and watch it in your free time. Yeah, it's but if you just scroll up and read the questions that have been asked, those questions have been answered. Can you leave a team if you get offered a spot on another team? So I think that would be considered, well, so that would be considered a trade. Cub, is there some more nuance that we could offer on that?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the answer is the captains have to agree to that trade. You're on a team and your captain is your leader. If they offer a player of equal skill and there's a trade, then yes, but we're just not going to allow you to drop the team that you got drafted on, effectively, trolling your captain, effectively trolling their draft, just to drop and then get picked up on another team. If you self-drop, there will be a period of not being able to play on another.
Yeah, there will be a period of not being able to play on another team, he said. So is this a questions? Yes. Will players be allowed to stream when they are playing a set? No. There's a rule in the rule book that if you're a Twitch streamer and that's how you make your money during your actual sets, the ones that are scheduled for the regular season, you cannot stream your games. If so, would a delay be needed? Well, so no is the answer. We very much want to avoid stream sniping. Like I said, competitive integrity. That's one of the main through lines through what we're talking about here. And so it's difficult to imagine a scenario where a live stream is going and it couldn't be exploited. So we want to try and avoid that situation. Can challenger players be moved up to premier if called upon for a team with an open spot? Yes, they could. There's not a rule that says a player that's in Challenger couldn't be there. I think specifically when we look at Diamond players, just given the numbers, we expect that there will be Diamond players in Premier, and so there's no reason that a player couldn't get pulled up from Challenger.
Right, and on that note, hopefully my mic's a little bit better now. I moved to maybe a better spot. I don't know, but on that note, we want the premier players to be in the premier division. So if people are playing at that level in Challenger, yeah, we encourage this sort of thing. We don't want people just stomping and that sort of thing. Okay. So, I think then go ahead.
The next question is, can you kick the captain if majority vote is against them? Specifically looking at Ibba. I think Ibba's going to be a great captain. I'm just going to throw that out there. I think that he's got a lot of skill set that's going to make him good at this. And when it comes to passion for the game, he's certainly got it. Now the question is, could a team kick their captain? I think the process to that would be, if you've got issues with your captain, please open a ticket, an admin ticket. That way we can investigate what the issues are. And I think that the admin team will have to get involved when it comes to making a ruling. Obviously, if all 5 members hate the captain and the captain's like, screw them or whatever in that scenario, we don't want that. It's real unlikely. The captains that were picked, I think, are going to do a great job. But in that scenario, open a ticket with the admin team. Have screenshots, material if you've got them, that make your case, and let us know.
Definitely, yeah. These situations will be investigated thoroughly. If you're not liking a captain or jiving with them and they're being, toxic or anything like that, we can definitely look into it and have a coup of sorts. So I see, Nathan, speaking of Ibba,
Yeah,
uh,
let's just jump to Ibba's question, and then we'll come back to
well,
Swift's.
well, his hand's been raised here for a minute. Do you want to answer a live question from Ibba?
I think that's not a bad idea because he wrote a question which is, can you guys explain how the draft will actually work? And do you think you'll change the scouting grounds? Let's get Ibba in here for 1 second and just
Sure.
face the firing range for a moment.
Yeah, I'll move him up here. We just ask that you're respectful and professional here, and yeah, if not, it can result in punishment. So without further ado, welcome Iba to the stage. Come on up here, pal. How goes it?
Can you hear us?
Sorry, I had my mic muted.
Glad
guys
to
hear
have
me?
you with
Welcome.
us.
Greetings, guys.
Well,
Is my mic muted?
we can hear
No,
you.
we can hear you.
Go ahead and tell
Uh,
us your question.
Hey. Okay. So, my question was, actually, hold on. Can you guys explain how the draft will actually work?
So
Yeah, absolutely.
go ahead, Cub.
I'll take this one. You want to say once scouting grounds are over, how will draft work as far as being a captain?
Yeah, like, will there be so you said that there's not going to be vice captains, which is,
Mhm.
I think that's cool. But you said it's like a snake draft, but it's like not like a real snake draft.
Yeah, so
Um,
we were exploring that as being an option. It's not completely set in stone yet. What the algorithmic snake draft would do is make a more balanced draft using an algorithm that it goes through regular snake. I don't want to get into all the details about it, but I can explain it in
Okay.
text or
We'll
something
just
like
say it
that.
is math based.
Math to be more balanced than just a snake draft, just benefit completely first pick or things. But as far as the draft goes, it'll be a randomized order, completely random. We'll run it through a generator. We'll even do it live and record it. As for what team gets first pick and what team gets last pick through the first snake of that, and that's how we're gonna do that.
okay. So, for the second question, like scouting grounds, I don't think that I mean, usually I don't know if people really like scouting grounds like overall. I don't know, like in other communities, I think like they were fine. Uh, but I think the issue with this is it kind of holds these people who have bad schedules, and it's like going to bring them over to like the actual league, and I think that will like mess up the league. Cause I have this dude. No, I'm sorry if I'm like calling you out. I don't remember his name. Oh, that's Lush. Bro, like his schedule is so bad. Like he could play like either top of the morning
Well,
or like
let,
at midnight.
let me jump in.
Right.
So one of the things that we talked about earlier is, if you can't, and Animosity asked this question, if you can't get all the people that are supposed to be on the team coordinated, reach out to us. We'll try and find you a fill for that person. We'll try and maybe find a team that we can swap people. It's not so critical that they stay on the specific team that they're on, but what we're trying to do with this specific scouting grounds is to make sure that the people who have signed up to play games get to play games, that just a handful of players don't just mob the scouting grounds, and that the games that are played, the ones that really count, do get recorded, streamed, that data is available for all the captains. We're not saying you can't play other games, but we've given you a 2 week period of time to schedule one set. If that is impossible, then that makes me think that maybe those players shouldn't be on a league where they're going to literally
Correct.
be doing that every week. So I very much understand your frustrations, and there's no part of this design that was intended to frustrate the captains. It was supposed to kind of get you involved. It was supposed to get the players in a more organized fashion to play scouting ground games so that everyone at least gets a set, and that's what this achieves. And that's not to say you can't also play other games, but we want there to be one game, well, one set at least for each player that intends to be drafted that is VODed, that is recorded. And this achieves that. And if they can't do that, then let us know, open a ticket, we'll have to find you somebody, and we'll reach out to that individual player and say what's the holdup. So
Right.
make sure you've got your information correct as far as scheduling and coordinating.
Right.
Wait.
Yeah. Even though it's a little bit more, work for the captain. Yeah. You're gonna learn these players' schedules. You're gonna learn, hey, I don't want a guy that can only play at midnight on my team. We mentioned this earlier, and of course, if we can't find you a sub, you as a captain, as long as the other captain's spectating, you can fill in for that game. You can play support or whatever you want. Make sure the games are being played. If 4 of your players are able to play at one time and one's not. Let's take one more question from you, Ibba. Make it an important one, if you have any
Okay.
more.
It's just kind of like building off of this question. So, 2 weeks to play a singular game is
Set.
like a set. So like, is it best out of 3 or 5?
Best of
Best of 3.
So like 2 weeks, and out of those 2 weeks, captains are going to overall get 2 games of these people. Some of these people aren't even like playing like their main role. So wait, like there's 2 like people are like on like 2 different teams. Like was that meant to be, or is there for like 2 different weeks? Cause like like you can't like have 2 weeks for people to play, then them only like complete 2 games. Like that's like literally no info, especially if they're not playing their main role. Like that's
Well, like
no
I said,
Right.
information.
we're not saying that they can't play other games that are for the captain's benefit. We're just asking them to participate in this very reasonable low bar so that there is a record of games. Now there can be more games, and you're welcome to coordinate those as well. But I mean, I felt like a minute ago you were saying that you were finding it hard to schedule just a set, and now you're saying you want there to be more sets. So I
Oh.
understand you want as much information as you can to be able to make judgments as a
Oh.
captain, but also we're trying to make it a reasonably low bar so that people are eligible for draft, and that's what this is. This is the bar to be eligible for draft. It's to give you information and all the other captains information about those players, and then as captain you can get other information, like you can queue up and go play casuals, like get to know these players. There's nothing wrong with
Right.
that.
All right. Well, if we're gonna go on the stage, thank you for your question. If you have any more, feel free to put it in the Q&A chat, and we will try to answer it offline. Thanks, bud.
Thank you guys for having me.
Uh,
Loved it. I
all
like
right.
that guy.
Moving
I think he's
on.
gonna go far.
He's okay, I guess. His Osiris kind of dusty though.
So
Anyways,
yeah.
Anne asked if she can play. Anne, you're just too good to play. Let's see what we have. We have more Swiftfish questions. I say we skip over those. He's asked a lot here. Where are we at here?
So if we'll take the time to respond to your questions in text later if we don't get back to them in time. So are you able to bring up challenger free agents to Premier if they feel they are worthy of the spot? So let me make maybe a qualifier. So there are going to be Premier free agents, as in they can only be drafted in Premier because they are Masters or Grandmasters level players. And then there are going to be free agents. I referred to them as Challenger free agents before, but they are just free agents. There's no reason that if somebody wanted to, they couldn't draft a gold player. It's not super likely. I'm up to Premier. It's not super likely because I'm talking about an actually gold player, not a smurfing gold player. But there, if during the free agent games that we're playing, if it's obvious that somebody just never played ranked and they're actually a really, really good player, then there's no rule that says that free agents can't be pulled up to Premier. That's just up to the Premier captains who they want to pull from. And if there's a Masters player, it's maybe not super likely that a Platinum player is going to get pulled up, but if they're that good, maybe. Does that sound on track, Cub? Did I answer that correctly?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, I think that's a great explanation there. Moving on, Suli asked, "Will you guys ever host an EU side of the league? One day I will be on Fair Playgrounds." Yeah, so this league is obviously exponentially growing. It's growing very, very quickly. We don't want to, make any promises or anything like that, but we want to grow in a healthy way. We don't want to, outgrow ourselves and completely implode because we're taking on too many tasks at one time. So as the league grows, I can foresee, eventually down the line that if we get enough staff and things like that, an EU side could be implemented. But right now we're focusing on this season one, and we're just going to take it one season at a time. But yeah, just for the health of the league and the server and everything like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Who knows what the future holds? But we would love that to at least continue to expand the league. Sorry about your ping, but of all people, I feel like you've got the mechanics to work around it. So there's some talk about let's see. I'm
Yeah, so I
trying not to.
see Uller One Trick. He's asked a couple questions that we've answered. I'm just gonna give him a quick abridged version. Challenger to Premier, you already answered that. Can you change roles mid-set? The answer is yes. That's the purpose of the sub. You can swap around if you want. And then he also asked, can we start keeping match caps of in-houses to use as info as well? I actually think this is a great idea. I don't know about you, but I think we should open a channel for any in-houses that are being played,
Yeah.
just so captains have more data. The more data, the better. If people are playing these games and posting match results, yeah, we can definitely use those. And yeah.
Yeah, I think I alluded to that earlier. We want you to be able to get screen caps of games that you play that are for the intention of, being for this league. We're setting a reasonably low bar for the scouting grounds matches that are mandatory to be eligible for draft. But we definitely want to encourage there to be more games played. And if they're going to do that, we'd like them recorded in some form or fashion. So screen caps are great. So do that. We'll make a Discord channel specifically for that.
Definitely.
I know captain is not required to play. Are they allowed to pick up a sub if the captain decided they don't want to play? So I think that maybe the scenario that Anne is describing is, let's say you've got your 6-man team and your ADC can't make it that day. And captain's like, yeah, but I just want a captain. Can I get a sub? I'm going to say yes. I don't think that the captain is required to fill, but I think to get a sub, you've got to clear it. Like you've got to open a ticket. It's the subbing process where you discuss with the opposing captain that it's somebody that you can play with. You open a ticket, admins confirm it. So just keep that in mind. We'll try and have a process to streamline that as well, just to like have available players, sort of like waiting in the wings if subs are needed. We really want to get games started on time.
Right. And that being said, all of our captains that we have in Premier and Challenger, they're all extremely capable players, I'll say. So I highly doubt that any of them are going to want to just be a coach. And so I really don't foresee this being an issue to come up. Ibba asked something about a player that doesn't want to play. I think you're talking about Brown side, Ibba. Just let him play the scouting grounds game. I know it doesn't really benefit you that he's not going to be playing in the league, but you'll be able to at least see 9 other players play. And hopefully that's enough data, especially with the in-houses that you host all the time. I think you'll have enough data there if you could just play nice with them for now.
And to the captains in general, if a hypothetical player just doesn't want to play a scouting grounds match, yeah, let us know. We'll find you a replacement. Simple as that.
Exactly. I think we move back up to Swiftfish questions now. I think we've answered all the ones we can. Will player schedules be reported to all captains or just the captain they played for in scouting grounds? Just so captains can see a player's schedule before picking them. I don't think that we. The thing about schedules is they change all the time, right?
Yeah.
From week to week, I can be available, from 6 p.m. to midnight, except for sometimes I'm traveling and I won't be available at all. So, having a schedule for a whole season is nearly impossible for all of these players. And so I think it's just a week by week basis, and it won't be reported to all the captains. It just simply will be what it is. I don't really think there's an effective way to capture that information or to track that.
So next question is, can I do stats and volunteer as a volunteer and still play? I love seeing the stats and builds that people come up with. I see no reason not to. This is not something we've expressly talked about, so this is kind of us riffing the idea. But anyone can get these stats if they wanted to. Like nothing's stopping Swiftfish or Non-Steve from just pulling stats on the games. So if they wanted to do that in service of the league, I don't see that as a staff role specifically, as long as they're not making decisions for the league based off of it. They're just providing information in the spreadsheet. if there's issues with that, we can revisit. But I see no problems with volunteering to do stats.
Right. Yeah, that's an excellent point there. Next question is there plans for if a team or multiple players drop from the league?
Yeah.
Yes, that's the purpose of not allowing the Masters players to go down on Challenger. There will be a free agent pool. We're going to do all we can to keep those players active and available.
Engaged.
And I don't know about cage, but yeah,
No.
tightly wrapped up, right? No, but yeah, we want to at least, if a team starts to fall apart, have players to pull from so we can rebuild these teams if they start to fall apart. We're not going to allow what happened in unnamed leagues of past to happen again.
Banned skins.
Yeah. So this will be posted. We have a banned content channel. If it's not there, it will be soon. Oath's been working like a madman.
It is in the rule set.
It's in the rule set, but yeah, we'll be posting the banned skins, banned ward skins, banned of course all titles and jump stamps are banned unless you have the world champion title. And yeah, throughout the season it'll be posted, and if there's changes to it, those posts will be made also. And we have a wonderful person to send those to us. So yeah, we will be staying to the most up-to-date SPL rules regarding that.
And if games happen with them, they're subject to be replayed, disqualified.
Right. The next question: will sets in playoffs be best of 3?
Yes.
The answer is yes. All sets will. Playoffs will also. I think as far as best of 3, best of 5 for finals, I think we're going to leave that in the players' hands. Have it be a vote per division. We want you guys to weigh in on that sort of thing. Some people think a best of 5, when they're 30 minutes to an hour games is just too much. But we want you guys to have a say in that. If you want to play a best of 3, if you want, double elimination, you just got to make your voice heard, and we'll definitely have a vote when it's closer to playoffs among the captains as to what they want as far as that goes.
Has anything been decided for content for the league? Clips, podcasts, guides? I mean, does this guy not know who Nooblet is? No, so I'm not sure the full intent of this question, but I'm going to say content for the league is something we're going to be very concerned about. We want community engagement. We want you to feel like you're getting good entertainment, good production value out of this. This is something I think all of the admins really care about. And so I would expect there to be content. As far as like what's decided, I'm thinking that's going to be an evolving thing, but you obviously are going to have the games cast. We're going to have VODs on YouTube. There will probably be montages and clips and that sort of thing. So if you've seen the type of work that itsNooblet does, expect more of that, I think is the short answer.
Right. I'm going to jump around. You can stay on Swift's questions if you will, Nate.
Yeah,
I'm going to jump to some other questions. Uller One Trick asks, actually, sorry, I missed one. Red Wings asks, captains are supposed to play with their teams, right? The answer is yes. You're welcome to if you want to. If you don't want to, you don't have to. That's the purpose of 6-man teams. If you just want to be a coach, you can do that. But typically the captains will be, one of the better players on the team. So yeah, of course, encouraged to play. Uller One Trick then asks, will captains be scheduling games between other captains, or is the league as a whole, will they be making the schedules for the games? Right now we have a set schedule. We're going to be going from, I believe, Friday to Sunday with various time slots if your games want to be casted. Now, if those time slots aren't working for the two teams that are trying to play their games, they can come up with their own schedule, come up with a time for their game to be played, but that game is no longer subject to be casted and production and cameraed. So just be wary. We want to try to stick to this Friday through Sunday schedule so we can get a lot of Smite in, get as much content on our YouTube and Twitch as possible, all of that. So Ibba, I think, has a complaint with in-houses. He says you cannot take in-houses where it's meant to be fun and chill, not competitive, and showcases info. Instead, you can have in-house like scouting grounds that are announced and then balanced by coaches, top players, and then checked for integrity by mods. That's a good point, Ibba. I know in-houses oftentimes are troll. We see a lot of troll picks and things like that. I think there is still data to be grabbed from those. But on that note, if you want to, as a coach, run an in-house and say, hey, this is a scouting ground, this is a tryout to be on my team, I think players will certainly play a lot harder and show what you got if that's the case. So I think that's going to be that.
I think maybe the last point that I'm going to make in response to what Ibba has to say is we've established what is the criteria for scouting grounds to be draftable. I think it's reasonable. Captains now have the onus to get the information that they need to be able to have a good draft. You know, there's lots of ways. We can't do everything to make sure everyone gets all the information. Captain's got to do it. Ibba, I think you got the skills. I think you've got the capability to make that happen. So I'm going to continue down Swift's questions. Will there be any criteria for removing players from their teams? That's something that's called out in the rule book. I think there's a few scenarios where that could happen, where somebody's striked enough times that they're banned. Well, then that's a Discord ban, and then they're removed from the team. If the captain doesn't want a player on their team, they have the option to drop them and then pick up other people. After 7 days, that dropped player has the availability to be picked up by other captains. So there's mechanisms for trading players, dropping and picking up players. If a player is Diamond and is drafted into Premier, will they be able to move down to Challenger if it doesn't work out? For sure. If they're dropped, then 7 days after they're dropped, then they're able to be picked up by another team. That another team could be a Challenger team if they're a Diamond player, if they're not a Masters player. Having played in Premier does not disqualify you from Challenger. Being a Masters or Grandmasters level ranked player does. How will in-game taunt actions be handled? Laugh spam, taunt spam, etc. There is in the rules that if you laugh once, that's not necessarily a strikeable offense, but if it's done with some sort of like malicious intent, if it's like spam laughing at Titan, if it's walking around laughing at players after winning a 1v1 in sort of an aggressive manner or something like that, the type of thing that requires review, open a ticket. Make sure if there is a complaint, you open a ticket, admins will review it. It can result in a strike. Strikes can result in a ban. Will there be a way for players to submit clips to potentially uploaded for league social outlets? We don't have a formal mechanism for that, but I wouldn't have any objections to that. I don't think that any of the admins would. So I'm going to encourage players, if you have clips, share them. And if they hit everybody's interests, then we'd be glad to share them to social outlets.
Right. Yeah, we have the clips and highlights channel, so use that. And if it's community worthy, we can put it on our Twitter or Instagram or any of that. His next question is, if a player hits Masters during scouting games, what will happen? So we're going off of your rank at the beginning when you're filling out this poll, and so that'll stay the same throughout the season. If you hit Masters, good for you. You were still a scrub before the season started, so there you have it.
We are encouraging growth throughout the season, I think, is something that we're talking about. We expect players to get better as they play.
Right. And then he asked, do you plan on doing more of these throughout the season? I think it is good. If you guys respond positively to this, if you're enjoying what you're hearing, feeling heard through this, I think it's reasonable to expect more of these to come. We want you guys to be involved as a community and feel heard and that. And that's that. So if you guys like that, we'll make sure to continue to do these. Moving on past Swift, he asked a lot of questions there, but that's good stuff.
I like his questions. Swift questions are good questions.
Very good. Homelander scouting ground set teams we covered, but essentially to the captains to the test, to let everyone get a chance to shine and play their game, to have a low bar for how to get entry into this league. Let's see here. Virtually ask a question, I believe. Yeah. During the scheduled scouting games, can captains be in the team's voice chat to just listen to calls while spectating? Absolutely. Yeah, we set up voice chats for each team. We want to hear their comms. Of course, as a captain, you'll want to hear their comms. So that's encouraged 100%. You can be there, but the game still has to be spectated by one or both of the captains.
I'm going to skip to Lucent, actually. If a captain drops a player for internal problems, but the dropped player feels it was unjust, can they open a ticket? You can always open a ticket. And any scenario where you feel like there's a problem, you can open a ticket and mods will review it. We don't want players to feel like they've just got to bear the burden of anything that's unjust. Captains do have some discretion in what they do with their players, so, keep that in mind. But in any scenario, you can open a ticket.
Right. Swaga says, I think having captains having the choice to play kind of ruins the format because higher level captains will have an innate draft advantage. So that's a fair point, but at these levels of play, the captains are just playing at the highest level of Smite possible. It's not like when you get to these levels that yeah, there's going to be better players than others, but it's not going to be such a diff that it's going to make that much of a difference. Look at me. Last season that we played, I was maybe one of the worst captains in Premier, and my team went undefeated. It's not always an innate draft advantage if the captain works well with the team, has good shot calling, can organize a team, have good drafts. So I hear that thought process, but I also think there's a counter thought process to that. Go ahead, Nate.
So, if agreed upon, could players swap roles during scouting rounds if they would like to show off a different role, if they're locked into a role that's not,
Yes.
given to them? Yeah, absolutely. In fact, I would go as far as to say it's not out of the realm of possibility that they could swap with different teams. We don't want a huge influx of that, but if for whatever reason there's a mid on one team that wants to be carry and a carry on another team that wants to be mid, I'm going to say in specific situations it's not the end of the world. We just want people to play. We want people to get on their games and have them be cast and get involved. We're not trying to force somebody on a role they don't want to be.
Right. And I think our time is up here. Let's answer what, 5 more questions? 3 more questions? What do you think?
I think 5 is reasonable. Let's do it.
Okay, let's do that. So I saw here Lucent has a good question. If a captain drops a player for internal problems, but the drop player believes it was unjust, can they open a ticket? Absolutely. We encourage you to open tickets. Your thoughts are heard there. The admins will hear you. If it's unjust, yeah, we will address that. Each trade and drop player and all those situations like that will be investigated, especially if it's like this and you believe it's unjust or unfair. We have seen this in the past, so we want to treat it as kindly and thoroughly as we can.
Okay, that one was actually asked and answered, so I'm going to
Sorry.
yeah. So if a player joins the server during the season and or scouting grounds and decides to rejoin the FA pool, what's the ruling for that? Are they allowed to rejoin the FA pool with no issues as long as everything was on good terms? I think at this point there's no reason that a player couldn't come back to the free agent pool. Like, I mean, if a life event comes up and you're just not able to be drafted right now, then you can't be drafted, and that's that. But if you want to be in the free agent pool at I don't see any harm in that. So unless somebody supersedes me with that, that's kind of what we're going to go with.
Right.
Giants wanting his props. He's going to be head of content. I referenced itsNooblet because that's something that we've seen a lot of his work. But Giants is going to be leading content on the server, and he wants people to know that.
Yeah. So, anyways, back to your question. Sorry, you moved on a little quickly for me there.
Yeah, my bad.
We have situations like this, Demi Bro. You said, yeah, if a player decides to rejoin the FA pool, if a player joins the FA pool, whether it's by drop or a new player to the FA pool, there will be a week-long period where it'll be a bidding process from the captains. If the captain wants that player, they will put in a request to the player. It's not first come serve. This is depicted in the rule book. All captains that want a player will bid on them. They'll say, hey, I want this player, and it will be awarded to the team at that time with the worst record. If 2 teams have the same record, then it'll go to a coin flip between those teams. So that's just how it'll be done, just to keep things fair, just to keep a player from, all of a sudden I'm in the FA pool, all of a sudden I'm on the team I want to be. So to be on, so that's how that'll be addressed.
Yeah, a little buffer time. I like Godly Janice's question. Do we have to be in the team comms channel during games, or can we use an outside Discord team channel? So yes, you have to be in the team comms channel during a scheduled set. You are encouraged to make your own Discord for strategy and talking to the team, etc. It's fine for you to have another Discord. There's no problems there. But during the actual scheduled sets, we want you in team comms, because even if you're a console player, we want you to join that team comms with a cell phone or whatever. Because we don't want there to be an extra person that's not on the team or a scheduled replacement. And so we're focusing on competitive integrity there, and so that's why we want people to join their voice comms channel.
Right. Let's see if we have any more. I think we've kind of gotten through. Oh, Jalen's asked, hi Jalen's, are team transfers a thing, or is it drafted onto a team be the one that you're on for the rest. Yes, Jay, can I answer this? We are with these teams that we're going to have in regular season. We are encouraging trades. We want to see that transactions page go crazy with the trades. We want teams to come up with the best rosters they feel possible. So yes, transfers are possible. It just has to go through the right protocols to do that.
And let me just take a look and see if we've got any raised hands, because that's something that we sort of. All right, no raised hands right now. I think we made it to the end of the list. We're going to give you guys just one more minute to, ask one more question, maybe two more questions if they come in fast.
Right. We'll hop off in 4 minutes. Yeah. 7:10 and 7:10, and Ratman was ignored. Let me look for your question.
From what I understand, and was asking more along the lines if captains can fill more of a coach role and never play, and essentially have an extra full-time sub, make it 7. I thought we addressed this, Ratman. If you felt like we didn't, I'm sorry. It's okay for captains to not play. I think that right now the teams are 6-man, so the way I took her question is if one of her 5 players drops and she wants to get a replacement, she can. As far as can one team draft 7 people while everyone else has 6? No, but I don't think that's what you're asking. Does that answer your question, Ratman? I'm hoping that we're at least acknowledging that captains don't have to play, but also they can.
Right. Uller One Trick asks if he's better than Cub in multiverses. The answer is absolutely not. Read me, never will. Can captains drop? Can captains and join the FA pool if they feel the team they drafted isn't good? No, you're a captain. You're a captain. You signed up to be a captain. You're in it for the long run, unless you're booted off. And I don't think you join the FA pool if you just feel like you messed up. That would absolutely implode a team, and we are all about competitive fairness and all of that.
Yeah.
Swiftish asks, how can a player move up from Challenger if Premier teams can't trade Premier players to Challenger? Not sure if that makes sense. How can a player move up from Challenger if Premier teams can't trade Premier players?
I'm just going to go through it again. I mean, unless you're reading more into this than I am. If you're a Masters player or above, then you can't get drafted in Challenger. But if you're a Masters player and a team doesn't want you, then they can drop you. A Premier team can drop you. And if they decide that there's somebody better, even in Challenger, then or the free agent pool without a Masters tag, then they're welcome to bid for that player. So I don't think there's a mechanic that prevents a Challenger player from going to Premier, and there's not a mechanic that prevents a free agent player from going to Premier. Does that answer your question, Swift? And Cub, do you have anything more to add to that?
No, I think you answered that excellently.
Can I take the captain spot if I win an on her 1v1 gentleman's duel? But it's got to be against Yung-Cub, and so no, it's.
Hang on now, everyone would be a captain if that was the case. So I think we're nearing it down. I see Memes typing a question. Meme has some good things, and Lucen's typing something. We can get to some of these meme questions, and then
So Cub can read you a bedtime story. The best mustache is Kyranator. Nooblets is a close second. What was one of the other meme ones?
I don't know though.
I see a hand.
On the staff team.
Virtually got a hand. Do you want to bring Virtually up here?
Why not? I'm having a good time.
Make it quick, baby.
Let me move this boy up here.
Where
are you?
Hey, you are.
Hi.
Sorry, I just have one quick question. You said a 5-minute timer, so I couldn't ask. When can captains start hosting their scouting in? Like not the set ones where we have our teams, but
anytime.
So we can start tonight or tomorrow.
If you wanted to. If you want to scout people, go crazy. Yep, absolutely.
All right, perfect. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
We think you're the best. All right. Well, okay, he's all right. Though. He's all right.
Meme asked, all right, 2 more questions and we're out of here. I think he means, what happens to Challenger team who the player was taken from? Oh, right, because it's not a transaction. Yeah, I don't foresee this happening necessarily. If a player is super overperforming in Challenger, it's something we can look at. But I think the Challenger team that traded would just have to grab a team from the free agent pool. I think that's just how it would have to be. That's a good question, and maybe this is just handled by way of Challenger team drops a player, picks up someone else, and Premier team picks up that player. That's a good question and a hard thing to navigate, and also probably a rare circumstance that might not ever happen.
So a brief summary of everything that we talked about. We're looking for competitive integrity. We're trying to make this organized. We're very much trying to listen to the community, but we are trying to keep rules in place that are clear and easy to follow. We're hoping that's working out for people. If there are questions, we want you to feel that you can reach out to us. We will do more Q&As in the future. And then the league is growing faster than we could have anticipated. We're already off to great success. It's creating a lot of burden for the admins, but in general, we're very excited about that. So I just want you guys to know that it's a good thing, even if it maybe seems a little messy right now. We're super excited about the season starting. You got anything else for me, Cub?
I don't. Yeah, I really hope you guys enjoyed this time. I see Chubby Ostrich typing one question. He hasn't said anything all game.
Yeah,
maybe it's mean. Maybe, or not all game, but all Q&A. So maybe we get one more question in.
Yeah, we'll end with.
Leah asked
if
Ollie's the new mascot for the SDL.
Obviously.
I love Ollie, so you know, good old Oliver. So we're gonna wait for the Chubby Ostrich question, and after that, I think we wrap this thing up. What do you think?
I think so. I'm gonna take the time while we're waiting to say I really appreciate everyone joining. This has been a bigger turnout than I would have expected. I really like seeing this engagement, this participation. I hope we can keep it going. I think that this season's going to be real active, and I think that we're gonna see a lot of great stuff from the players. I hope you guys feel very well supported by the admin staff. This is gonna be good.
Yep, and it was a meme question indeed. What does Make Your Loaf smell like? I don't know.
It's wild. I'll tell you. I'll PM you offline. It's wild that it took him 45 minutes to type that. Did you notice? Anyway.
Yeah, I did notice. Ibba's raising his hand here. Do we want to make the boy feel heard?
Let's get him in here, but this is where we're gonna end because we're going a little bit over time.
Absolutely. All right, Ibba, make it quick, sir.
Yeah. Well, I think what they're trying to say is, like, if you think about it, all right, hear me out.
Mm-hmm.
What I could do right now, I can mess up this whole league right now. Okay, not trying to be aggressive, but like if I like get like a bunch of Smurfs, get a bunch of goons out in Challenger, and I just like, you know, whatever, like they're just like there, they get picked on a team. If I just drop a dude in Premier, I just yoink somebody from Challenger. Like I think that's like the confusion. Like if I have a Premier team, it's like not the team I want, but I have a bunch of Smurfs in Challenger, then I just drop this guy, or at least like even one. I just drop this guy, and then I get my Smurf friend from Challenger.
Well,
so how is there like
I very much get what you're saying, and so I think that's a reasonable concern. And if you haven't heard it from us, you know, that's something we're also concerned about. I keep saying competitive integrity over and over, and it's because that's something we're looking at. So I think the short answer is we're going to have mechanics in place to keep Smurfs away. We're going to have mechanics in place to prevent that sort of scenario from even being able to be set up. But also, just imagine if a Smurf slips through and he's on another captain's team, why would that captain let him go? So you can't just drop your premier players and then suddenly go get 5 other players. Well, I mean, he could.
Right.
He could, but I think we also addressed that if we see that somebody is intentionally throwing games, that is also something that can get you strikes, get you bans. So I guess I'm just saying it's a scenario that we've considered. It's one that we've got rules in place to prevent, and there's just going to be mechanics that'll make that effectively impossible to do. Please don't take that as a challenge. But I want you to know that was considered before you brought up the question. That is part of the reason that some of these rules maybe look a little bit overly elaborate, is we are trying to prevent Smurfs, we're trying to prevent duplicates, we're trying to keep the competitive integrity, we're trying to prevent people from playing in division that they shouldn't be in just outright. And admittedly, you can only do that so much because people can just do what they want to do, and it's hard to tell the difference between throwing and a bad game. But we've got mechanics in place that give us the tools to keep those players from being on teams.
Right, and if a player is underperforming in Challenger and then gets drafted to go to Premier and is hanging or overperforming or just performing at that level, obviously something is afoot and something ain't right. So we'll definitely look into those situations. And as Nathan said, we have measures to prevent this sort of thing, and especially we just want to reiterate this. We're gonna have an amnesty week of if you guys have Smurfs right now, we are gonna be digging into it right now. Next Friday, but sorry, amnesty week, but yeah, if you guys leave the servers, you won't have all accounts banned and reported to the Amateur Smite League. But we just want to reiterate, we are only allowing main accounts in this league right now because we want this competitive integrity of this league, and we want this league to be healthy and happy for years to come.
Yeah, and I think there's one other thing that I just want to say, kind of like as a general idea, and that is there's a balance between having like rules and organization and having things, be consistent and predictable. But then there's also, on the flip side of that, a certain amount of freedom. We want to give captains to freedom to get the information that they need to draft their players and to be able to draft the team that they want. We don't want to have a stranglehold of rules, but we do want this to be an organized league where people think it's fair. And so we're very much trying to find that balance. And Ibba, what I'm hearing from you is that you care about that balance as well. And so I say keep this dialogue going. You're very much on top of this. And so I think that's great. I just want you to hear that we're considering these things you're talking about, and we're trying to make the rules such that it's going to be impossible for people to abuse this system.
Absolutely. Ibba, thank you for joining us, sir. We're gonna get you off the stage here. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm honestly so ecstatic, bro. I'm a big fan. Like I'm honestly shaking right now.
Well, same.
Thank you,
right
guys.
back at you. You're a rock star.
Thank you.
All right, everyone. Well, I think we're gonna wrap up here. Again, just on the Smurf account, on the Smurf situation as a whole. If you guys suspect someone's smurfing, of course you're welcome to report that. We want to just keep the integrity of the league. We know there's a lot of money on the line, so I encourage people trying to cheat. We frown upon it. We're going to take the measures against it. Just want to reiterate that for the last time. So I think without further ado, thank you everyone for joining us. I have been Yung-Cub.
And I'm Nathandepaulo. I very much appreciated being here, and I look forward to talking to you more throughout the season.
Thanks, everyone. Good night.
I know you told your friend you're not okay, and tell me what's wrong and why you never said you felt that way. And guess you're trying to stay strong and fake a smile until I look away. But I've known you too long, it hurts to watch your blue eyes fade to gray as you fade away, as you fade away.